ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining this Bhagavad Gita sessions on lessons from the Bhagavad Gita. We planning to hold 26 sessions. It might be a little less, little more, depending on how we go through the sessions. The first two sessions are going to be like an introduction. Today is an introduction, and next time, we will do the context of the Bhagavad Gita, in what historical context it was spoken. And then we will start with chapter 1 the following week. Now, I have the great pleasure of, and I feel very, very happy that we want to ask the youngsters to come forward and do the presentations. And I'm very happy to say that as a young 16-year-old girl, Pari, is going to take these sessions as much as she can, depending on, of course, her study and school schedules. But I'm hoping that she will be able to continue all the way through. She was a student, she's been a student for about a year now, and she's gone through the Bhagavad Gita with us, and also the Sanatana Dharma course. And in fact, for the Sanatana Dharma course, she used to do most of the quizzes, and she was a very active and enthusiastic young person. And we need young people to continue this traditions of Sanatana Dharma, to understand Sanatana Dharma, understand the Bhagavad Gita, and to also explain the Bhagavad Gita to others. So this is a wonderful opportunity for her to express herself, and she's young, so we all know one of the tendencies of human beings is to make mistakes. But I am encouraging her, don't worry, you might make mistakes. I make mistakes on a daily basis, but we will learn from those mistakes. And she will have a fresh sort of outlook on the subject matter as well, which I'm sure we will all benefit from. And she also has the traditional understanding of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we need future leaders who will take forward Sanatana Dharma, and I think she's one of them. And also we have Ishwari and Kishori here. They are 11 and 12. So the plan is that after the class, which will be from 1 o'clock till about 1:45, including questions, usually I would do 1.5 hours. So 1 till 1:30, and then we'll have questions for 15 minutes. And then 15 minutes at the end, we can do the quiz. And the quiz, last time was mainly done by Pari, and there she is. Thank you so much for joining, Pari, and it's good to see you. And this time we requested Ishwari and Kishori to put together the quiz. So the quiz will be not this week, it'll be next week, and it will be about this week's learning. And the quiz is always very useful to just monitor our understanding and how much we are able to gain from these sessions. And being 11 and 12, they've already actually done the quiz a few times. They're very competent, very intelligent girls. And it's also a good opportunity for them to learn more, because when you have to put together something, you have to learn a lot more. So it's a good opportunity for them. And I can see them in the future as also being amazing preachers of Sanatana Dharma. So I think the future is very, very bright. We also have here Shaivi, Kathid, and Kathan. Now, they're even younger. They're like, Shaivi is 9, I believe, or maybe 10 now. And Kathit and Kathan, they're pretty young. They're 6 and 7, I think. But the potential of them is absolutely humongous, because already they know so much about Sanatana Dharma. And I can see them growing with our other youngsters and developing into fine, pillars of our society. So that's all I wanted to start with. And I was going to pass the baton on to Pari. Is that okay, Pari? Over to you.
That's perfect, Prabhuji. Honestly, I won't lie. I practiced that introduction, but you have done it so much better than I could.
Oh, no, I want you to do the introduction again.
Oh, well, in that case,
Please,
all I was
please.
going to say is that Hare Krishna, everyone, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for offering this opportunity. And like he said, this is my first time, and being a student of his before, I can't exceed what he's done, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and do as best as I can. So Prabhuji, if you guys don't know, he's organized everything. All the PowerPoints and stuff he's made, I've literally edited some of it, but he's the most humble person you're gonna meet. And aside from Prabhuji, we have our two singers at the start, which I unfortunately missed, Ishori and Kishori. I'm so sorry. But like every time we listen to them, guys, honestly, you are so blissful. So promise I won't miss it next time though. But yes, mine, like Prabhuji's already introduced me before, but Hare Krishna, my name is Pari. I'm in year 12 at the moment. I'm 17. And what can I say? Like I was pushed, or I wasn't pushed, but I was sort of really attracted to Krishna consciousness around 2 years ago. And Prabhuji took this class for me of the Bhagavad Gita, and that's where we sort of got along really well. And then he complimented me as being a preacher, so now here I am. So Prabhuji's sort of thing has come in reality. But yeah, Prabhuji, I was going to present, so if you could allow me
Yes,
to...
yes, you should be able to, huh? You should be able to.
I think there's two of me.
Oh, there's two of you. Okay, yes, go for it. Let me... Okay, done. Over to you.
So is it visible?
It says Zoom phone is expanding. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yes, we can see that the screen.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for being here. This is the introduction of the Bhakti Jnana course. And this is for anyone. This is for already devotees. This is for non-devotees. This is for progressing devotees like me. And it's such a pleasure to have all of you. So thank you all for being here. So the plan for our seminars is that the session will start every Sunday at 12:45, and then, like Prabhuji said, there will be time for questions and then a quiz at the end. This week and next week, it's mainly going to be about the importance of the Gita, and then the next Sunday is going to be the context of the Gita. So of course, which was the Mahabharata. After that, sessions will run as usual. We're going to go through the 18 chapters of the Gita. Of course, we may slightly run because there are some really long chapters. So, for example, chapter 2 is going to take 2 weeks, Sankhya Yoga, because it's a bit hard to understand, but it's also a really nice chapter to go through with the time that we'll have. And the reason for it is to get the devotees used to reading the Gita so that we can implement it in our real life. Of course, we will have volunteers, and we really encourage you guys to take as much part as you can. It's really fun. Once you start, like, I remember in the last session, people used to like raise their hand, and Prabhuji used to have trouble picking which one is going to read the verse. But we really hope you guys enjoy it. And it's going to be like a summary at the end of each verse to sort of link the themes to real life, so that we can actually apply them, and so that they influence our life in a spiritual way. And then, of course, at the end, there's going to be a little Q&A. Apart from that, there's going to be a little criteria for certificates and prizes. So, I guess this isn't. Has it moved from plans and seminars?
It hasn't moved. Yes, it has now. Yes, got
no,
it.
It has.
Got it.
I guess it's running a bit slow. The criteria for the certificate and prizes is that you must have 80% attendance. I know it sounds a bit harsh, but I promise you're going to enjoy it, hopefully. Maybe probably a bit less than when Prabhuji explains it, but I'm gonna try to make it as fun as possible. And so you're going to have to attend at least 16 out of 20. Now, this isn't so that we have like as many people joining. This is just so that you guys understand the philosophy of the Gita. Some parts you can't understand unless you understand others. So we need you to attend as many as you can to get the full sort of package of the Gita. And then
actually, sorry to disturb you. We're going to have actually 26 sessions. I think that was a little
it's gonna slightly overrun because some chapters it takes a lot longer.
And we started 12:45 for 15 minutes. We just do very, very beautiful prayers, which is worth attending. So 1 o'clock is usually when we start the class, but we encourage everybody to come at 12:45. Sorry, carry on.
No problem. Yes, so like Prabhuji said, the first 15 minutes are just going to be bhajans, and it's to sort of get us in the mood of Krishna consciousness. For the classes missed, like Prabhuji always does, he will record the sessions, which you can have access to later on. And it's so that you don't miss anything. Of course, it's up to you whether you watch it or not. But yeah, the 80% attendance should be timely, so you have to be punctual as well. And then the prizes will be based on the following basis. It's going to be the prizes. I'd say obviously they're a bonus, but don't do it for the prizes. do it so that you actually understand the philosophy rather than for the prizes. But yeah, the participation in the classes is vital. So I remember Ishari and Kishori, for example, in the last session, they had around 10 questions every session. And this is why these girls are like so like into it. I can't say if they've got prizes or not, but their participation was honestly the best. So ask any questions you have in mind. It will all be counted. Participation in the weekly quizzes as well. So like everyone that comes in the top 3 places will always take a picture of it and like we'll look at how many you got right and whatever. At the end of the course, we'll do a major online quiz, and it covers the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, I remember making this one, and it was honestly it was hard work, but it was so fun to do because it was like I was studying it all over again for the hour that I made it. I was just studying the Gita over and over again. It was really, really fun. And
yeah,
you guys
I remember
can have
that.
fun.
It was really good.
So what is the Bhagavad Gita? Now, the Bhagavad Gita is a song of God. Geet or Gita means song, and Bhagavad means God. In dialogue between the Lord, so it's a dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna. And it's when Arjuna is like in a really big predicament, and the Lord sings this to him to help him become more decisive and sort of expose him to the real transcendental knowledge. Now, over this century, the Holy Book has uplifted the spiritual consciousness of countless souls. So when people have lost their way, this book has always guided them, and this is exactly the reason why we teach it. It's a summary of all Vedic knowledge, which is so vast that only Krishna, Swayam Rupa, could summarize. So, of course, he's the personality of Godhead, and only he could have summarized all the scriptures in one. or how to live your life, he has summarized this in the Gita, which is only something he could have done.
And just to add there, the Vedic scriptures are so vast. It's like there are billions of verses, but within even less than 700, because Krishna didn't speak all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita, but I think it was 580 or something like that. Good, go. He summarized all of this. Carry on.
Yeah. So he's putting Shruti and Smriti, all of it into in together. I think the other laptop I'm presenting on is a bit slow, so you're gonna get the parts a bit slow. But sorry about that, guys. But yes. So the Vedas come from the breathing of the Vishnu. So all these things, like, they have been spoken by God himself. And because we can't study them all on our own, the Bhagavad Gita is so essential because it helps to summarize everything. And the first 6 chapters, which will be up on your screen, so it's going to be like a little table. The first 6 chapters are going to be Karma Yoga. The 7 to 12 chapters are going to be Bhakti Yoga, and then the last 13 to 18 are going to be Jnana Yoga. And the reason that Bhakti Yoga is in the middle is because that's what is trying to be communicated. That is the actual essence of the whole Gita. Now, if you've ever read a book yourself, you'll know that the most important part is in the middle. Anything important is always kept in the middle. So karma and jnana are inactive. So because they're on either side, they can't work unless bhakti is in between them and you have that feeling yourself. So they are hence be surrounded by both, and it gives the life to karma and jnana yoga. And generally, we do not disclose anything which is secret until we become intimate. So for example, I wouldn't tell someone a secret without me actually establishing a relationship with them. Therefore, out of respect, bhakti is always kept in the middle. The most important, so the fourth one is like sort of an analogy that if you've ever seen like things in war, the king will always travel in the middle because he's the one that needs to be protected, and then the army is always around it. And yeah, so the 5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita are Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. Now, Karma is not separate, but the first 4 are what we call eternal truths. So the first 4 are eternal, and the reason is because these are things that we cannot change or control. The last one, however, is not eternal because karma, our activity, our current action, is something that we can control. Things like Ishvara, Jiva, which is our soul, Prakriti, and time, of course, we cannot change these things. Like, these are not within our hands, but karma is always within our hands. So the division of the 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita are divided as so. When it comes up on you, yeah. So out of the 700, 574 were spoken by Lord Krishna, which is 82%. 84 were spoken by Arjuna. Disclaimer: these are mainly questions. And Sanjaya, 41 verses, and Dhritarashtra, he speaks 1 verse. But ironically, this is the most important because this is how the Gita is started. So Dhritarashtra speaks 1 verse at the start, and that's it. So what do we learn from the Bhagavad Gita? We learn that challenges in life will always be there because this is the material world, but the Gita teaches us how to cope in this battlefield of life. So in simple words, of course, couldn't be any simpler than that, but it teaches us how to battle with challenges that appear in our life. It teaches us the position of the Lord. Now, it doesn't only teach us the position, because we all know that, well, Lord is at the top, he's utmost. Well, why? What does he do? What does he have that makes him at the top, that makes him the source of all of us? It teaches us who we are. So self-realization is probably the biggest part of the Gita. It teaches you how to live your life, how to behave, the attitude you should have. And then it teaches us about the material nature that influences our behavior. So Maya, which we call illusion, how that affects us, the cosmic manifestation and how it's controlled by time, why we act the way we do. So if you guys have heard about the 3 gunas, so that's the reason why we act the way we do. And the 5 subject, these are the 5 subject matters of the Gita. Now, what is the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose is to take us out of this temporary material world that we live in. So is to take us away from Maya. It's also to perfect our existence. Of course, we will always remain imperfect, but unless we have that effort to be perfect, we will never be close. So it's to almost push us to perfection. It's for us to understand the reason for happiness and distress is to become free of fear, because I think this one's something that I've personally experienced, to be honest. To become free of fear, like as a student, you always have this, oh, what if I get bad grades, or what if this happens, what if I don't get the uni that I want to go to? Well, it doesn't matter, because whatever happens for the best, and that you will learn gradually as you go on, of course, is to transform our consciousness. And the Bhagavad Gita is non-different from the Lord, because it's something that the Lord sings, it's something that he speaks. So it's a gift from him to us, and that's why it's non-different. Exactly what the Lord would say to us, it's given through the book. Another purpose is that it conveys to us how much Krishna loves us, and the truth is he loves us more than we can imagine, and he wants us to go back to him. So this is sort of a roadmap to how to get back to him, and it's a roadmap to Goloka Vrindavan, which is the spiritual world where Krishna lives. Now, who is qualified to read the Bhagavad Gita? So, like other things, you would have to know, I guess, background knowledge or something about the subject. But for this, because it's a philosophy, everyone is qualified to read and study it. It could be a good person, it could be a not so good person. They both are equal in being able to read the Gita. Sorry about the background noise. Anyways, however, to understand the Gita, so there are some conditions. There are some conditions that you need to be able to read the Gita. No qualifications, but there are conditions. So you need to take it up in a spirit of devotion. You need to devote time to it. You need to devote your understanding and your energy to it. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand it. It's not something easy that we've been taught from the start. To have a learning mood, we need to be an empty vessel. This is why I think children understand it better than adults. No offense to the adults, because children haven't been conditioned as much as adults have, in a sense. So we always have that open-minded approach to philosophy, whereas adults have already got so much in their heads, like they find it hard to understand it. But of course, they try their best as well. To have patience, determination, and enthusiasm, and well, that's a given. To study anything, you need patience, determination, and enthusiasm. Otherwise, the Gita will remain a mystery to you, even if studied a whole lifetime or two, which is very true. You need to have that learning mood. Otherwise, the Gita is very, very hard for anyone to understand. And whether one is sinless or sinful, the Bhagavad Gita equally uplifts everyone, just like the sun evaporates urine or water without discrimination. So that's another beautiful analogy there from Bhagavad Gita. From Prabhuji that he's written. This is a verse from the Bhaja Govindam whenever it comes up on your screen by Adi Shankara. And I can't really gather the tune of how to read it, but I'll read the translation for you, which is that if one reads a little bit of the Bhagavad Gita, drinks a drop of water from the Ganga, or if he worships Murari even for a small moment, he won't have any tiffs with Yama. So Yama is the Lord of Death, and he also comes under the jurisdiction of Krishna. So if we do these things that connect us to Krishna, we won't have any tips with Yama, is what it's trying to say. Why is the Bhagavad Gita so important? Now, in the first chapter, Arjuna reveals his problem to Krishna, but the Lord does not say anything. And when we actually study these chapters, you're going to realize that in the first chapter, Arjuna is straight up like ranting to the Lord, and the Lord is not saying anything. And similarly, we think we know what we want to become like happy, but like we think we know what we need to become happy, and we think we know what we should get from the Lord, but the truth is we don't. And even then Krishna says that tastu, which means indeed I will give it to you. And so just like when we are speaking, we don't hear the Lord, because the Lord is the best of all listeners. But when the Lord speaks, we are the ones that should listen. So as it goes on, you will realize that Arjuna talks less and less, and Krishna talks more and more. And that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to listen to Krishna through the Bhagavad Gita. We're not asking Krishna like Arjuna, because Arjuna was directly asking him. But Arjuna realizes that the problem was too big, and he surrenders to the Lord in chapter 2, verse 2.7, I'd say. And then Krishna reveals the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So similarly, when we take genuine shelter of Krishna, he will reveal the problem and the solution. Thus, the first chapter is very important, as it reveals a problem, and the first verse is also very important because that's when Dhritarashtra speaks. Now, why was the Gita spoken on the battlefield? I love this part personally. Relates a lot to everyone. Well, Krishna could have spoken the Gita in a temple or in a cave or in the banks of Ganga, but then we'd have the excuse that the Gita doesn't apply to us. But when Krishna spoke the Gita on the battlefield, it resembles our life. I've never met a person that hasn't fought with another person, that hasn't internally fought as well. And so the battlefield represents exactly like us, our mind. We're always fighting either with ourselves or with someone else. And when Krishna speaks this on the battlefield, it's almost as if he's saying it to us, directly to our life. And so amidst our daily battles, we can also take shelter of the Gita, which was spoken with commotion around him. Sometimes I've actually heard people say this, I'll always hear people say this, but sometimes they say that, when I'm old, I'm going to read the Gita, or when my problems go away. Well, that's not possible, my friend, because once you're old, how much can you really take in? And also, you can die at any moment. What are you going to do then? Because then you have no time. You will never have time, and you will never have a time where problems go away. So the best time to start is now. And because problems are inevitable, we need those solutions from the Gita so that we can face them. A really common question: will my problems disappear if I read the Gita? Now, the problems will never go away, just like it was said in the before slide. But you will always have, your conscious level will go up so much that you will know how to face these problems. The slide hasn't come up yet, but it will in a moment. But yes, the problems will always be there. But because of the solutions that we have gained from the Gita, you will be able to handle them better than someone who probably hasn't read it. And even if we have everything like Duryodhana, there is one enemy within us, and thus there is no peace. Bhagavad Gita will assist us to face our problems, like if it is raining, we can't stop the rain, but we can use an umbrella to shelter from the rain. So in a sense, the Gita protects us and it shelters us from the material world problems. Now, how does the Gita do this? Arjuna, on our behalf, asks the Lord for guidance, who provides it beautifully to enable us to understand our own challenges. So Arjuna is like our mouthpiece. Like he speaks to the Lord so directly, like he asks us questions that probably we would ask. And Arjuna also questions the Lord whenever he has a doubt, so that our own doubts can be addressed. So in that way, Arjuna is like a really useful character here. Now, why the Bhagavad Gita as it is? So the Bhagavad Gita as it is a book that was written by Srila Prabhupada. And to be honest, the book has, the Bhagavad Gita itself has a lot of translations. It has a lot of interpretations. But the Bhagavad Gita as it is a book that was written without any misinterpretations or any personal speculations that one may have. Srila Prabhupada was a spiritual master in the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, who on the instructions of his guru preached Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Like if you guys ever read about him, he has done so much stuff, especially in the Western world, in America as well as Europe, and he translated the Bhagavad Gita word for word, using so many other so many like known sort of peoples and their like, how do you say it, their translations, so their commentaries. So the book is written like in a really easily way to read. I have one now. I would go get it, but it would be like we don't have much time. So how the book is written is that there is an original verse in Sanskrit, then there is a verse in English, and then there's an English transliteration, which basically gives you the word for word translation. So every word that is there, you will get an English translation for it. And then there's an actual translation, which will convey it so understandably to you. And then there's a purport, which is a commentary in English. And the purport is the most important part, because that's the part where there are no personal interpretations or any misinterpretations by Prabhupada. And he's used it. He's used the scriptures to explain it. He's used so many known personalities in that purport. So to kind of give you guys the best translation for you to understand how it's written. So there are so he refers to the commentaries of the previous acharyas. So there are acharyas that have been like really into Krishna consciousness as souls, and they have studied it so well, and that's why Prabhupada has used their commentaries on it. So prominently from Srila Baldeva Vidyabhushana, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, Srila Sridhara Swami, and Sripad Ramanujacharya. So why the Bhagavad Gita as it is? It's the best book to read if you're looking to read the Bhagavad Gita, because it's not his opinion, but it is exactly how Krishna meant it and how he translated it and how he sang it. So it includes, it's supported by the whole Sampradaya. So the whole community that studies the Gita, it's supported by them, first of all. And it includes Lord Brahma and Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya, who accepted initiation into the Sampradaya. So it's been referenced long back, and it's like the most reliable resource you can read for the Bhagavad Gita. The next slide is going to show you His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If you guys ever do get a chance, please read about him, because he's done extraordinary things in his life that we couldn't even dream to do. But why should I learn the Bhagavad Gita? So when you learn something for anyone, it's to show that you're serious about wanting to understand him. When you appeal to someone as a friend or in any other way, you talk to them, and you show that when you talk to them on deeper levels, you show that you are serious about wanting to understand them or befriend them, sort of make a relationship with them. And another really prominent reason is that a lot of friends that I have of the Muslim religion, they have been taught to memorize the Quran from so young, so young. But my own, well, if I go ask my cousins, or if I go ask anyone else at a young age that's probably Hindus, they would know what the Bhagavad Gita is, but they wouldn't know what it's about. Like they wouldn't know that they wouldn't know basic stuff that we would learn in this session. And so it's the fact that when other people can learn about their religion so much from so early, why shouldn't we start? Why shouldn't we know our roadmap to life? So by following the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from the anxieties of life, and one's next life will be spiritual. By reading the Bhagavad Gita very sincerely, and by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of past misdeeds will not act upon him. So all the baggage of all the misdeeds that you carry from your past life, I guess there could still be a result of that, but there will be a sort of subtle result, because you have started to learn the Gita. You know what's going on, and you know how to better your life in a sense. One may cleanse himself daily by taking bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganga water of the Bhagavad Gita, for him dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So to cleanse our body, we use, everyone out here is like, oh yeah, like you should get this body wash is so good. Like, well, what about cleansing your soul? The Bhagavad Gita does this. The Bhagavad Gita is a way of cleansing your soul. The more we swear in peace, the less you will bleed in war. And this links directly, is because when we practice bhakti from the Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to face any challenges when they come in the future. So as early as we practice it, it will be easier for us to continue through life. Now, how should I learn the Bhagavad Gita? There are no hard and fast rules. You can study it anytime you want to, anytime, anywhere. Of course, in the purest of conditions is the best. But there are some useful guidelines. So again, enthusiasm. These are personal instructions. So you should be sort of energetic about learning it, or else there's anything you do with enthusiasm, you do better. And you offer prayers to the Gita before opening the Gita. So this is why, unfortunately, I missed it today. But from the first 15 minutes of the class, I know that the Mangala Charana was read, and there were some bhajans going on as well. And so these help us understand, because these increase our consciousness. They put us in a mood to learn the Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is non-different from the Lord, and thus will accept our sincere prayers. In association with devotees who understand the purport of the Gita, and preferable devotees who follow a bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya, otherwise can be poisonous if the Gita is explained by a non-devotee. So, as we are all gathered here today, we are all in that mood of learning the Gita. And it's more powerful when you do it with people who want to learn. And otherwise, if it's explained by someone who doesn't, who hasn't studied the Gita before, or has misinterpreted it themselves, it can be really, really detrimental to them and someone who is learning it as well. So, yes, that's the end. Wow, that went pretty quickly. Any questions, please?
Good, well presented. Maybe you can stop the share.
Okay.
And I am anticipating, yes, Ishwari and Kishori, yes, go for it. And very well spoken. I think good analysis of why and how and what Gita is all about in some way. So yes, Ishwari Kishori, go for it.
First of all, I'd like to say it was very nicely spoken and we understood it very well.
Thank you so much. That was the goal.
So we only have 4 questions. So why did the Lord sing the Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, not tell it to him?
Well, I guess he sang it to make it more attractive in a sense. Like songs are something you always remember, right? Any song that you might hear, you guys especially, like anything you sing, of course you remember it better, but you may not remember it if someone said it to you without any tone or sort of in a monotonous way, you wouldn't remember that. But as a song, the Lord tried to make this transcendental knowledge even more appealing to Arjuna and all of us. Well, obviously he sang it in Sanskrit. Because it's translated in English, you can't really sing it because it doesn't rhyme. But yeah, I'd say he sang it to make it more attractive for Arjuna to learn as well.
Good answer. And also in the spiritual world, every word is a song, every step is a dance. It's like it's a completely different way of operation there. And that is also when the Lord comes, it's also is in the same mood. He'll just continue in the same way. So that's what the spiritual world is like. You know, everything. There's no harsh words. There's just beautiful, attractive. As Pari said, you know, very attractive, very beautiful. So that's another explanation as well. Good question.
Why should we be free of fear?
Why should you be free of fear? That's a good question. Well, there are things that you can't do if you're fearful all the time. Do you see? Like, you will never be able to give your best unless you have, well, it's not in a sense to be free of fear. It's just that you leave all your worries to the Lord. You don't carry the burden of fear, or you don't carry the burden of any negative emotion. You just give it all to the Lord and he handles it. That's why it's not, well, you could say free of fear, but you just hand it over to him. You're like, yeah, you know what, I surrender to you. Anything I'm scared of, I know you will handle it. So in that sense, you haven't completely stopped being fearful, but you have handed it over so that he watches over you if anything does scare you, in a sense.
Excellent answer. Because we are completely under his shelter, we are saying to the Lord, whatever my problem is actually your problem, because I'm just taking shelter of you. So if this goes wrong, that's your blessing. If it goes right, that's your blessing. So the reason we try to avoid fear is born of the mode of ignorance and passion generally. And we are fearful we lose something. We're fearful somebody will accuse or say something nasty to us. That's all due to our ego, false ego. Actually, we don't possess anything to lose it. And when we start chanting the Lord's names and taking shelter of him, we can understand, actually, my only possession is this bhakti which I'm trying to do, my devotion to the Lord. That's the only thing, that's what I really want to protect. And I'll do anything to protect it. And simply by chanting, you're protecting it. When Prabhupada was once asked by a reporter in an airport, he said, how do you feel when you chant? He said, I feel fearless. Nothing can, I'm completely under the shelter of the Lord. If he wants to destroy me, he can't anyway. He can destroy the body, but I'm with him. If he wants to protect me, that's fantastic as well. So in either way, we're happy because we're under the shelter of the Lord. Does that make sense, Ishwari?
Because what I was trying to ask is, like, let's say if you're like the head of a family and you got to look after everyone, but you still love the Lord at the same time. But if you're fearless, like, wouldn't that cause you to be slightly reckless as well if you leave all your worries with the Lord, if you know what I mean? Like if like you could be like, oh, my worries are with the Lord, he will look after me, so let me just go for a walk at midnight.
Yeah, no, that's true. I completely agree with that. It can make you a bit reckless, but in this sense it won't, because once you study the Gita, you understand that cool, it makes you fearless, but also it explains to you the duties that you have in
Good.
this world. So
Good.
in this material world, you can be as fearless as you want, but when you understand the Gita as well properly, you will know that you still have to do things as part of your swadharma. And then anything that you do with the Bhagavad Gita or anything related to Krishna is your Sanatan Dharma. So you need to keep a balance. Of course, don't be fearless all the time. Caring and like these things are still part of human nature, but you will know, you will understand your duties once you study the Gita, basically, in a sense.
Yes, good
Does
answer.
that make sense?
Good. Yeah, a lot of sense. And the duty point is very important. That's what Krishna explains to Arjuna. Because Arjuna wanted to give it all up and walk away out of fear, right? But Krishna said, no, even if you go to the forest, you're still a Kshatriya. If you ask for food from someone, they don't give it, you're going to get out your Gandiva bow and beat them up. Your nature is your nature. But there are instances like Narsi Mehta, for example. He was a really phenomenal devotee. He had so many family duties, but he actually left everything to the Lord. He would just do bhajan kirtan. There can be situations like that, but in the general case, we are expected to do our very best in terms of our duty to others who are relying on us. At the same time, also taking shelter of the Lord. It's a two-way path. Both things need to be done at the same time. Good question, Ishwari.
And last question, what is the reason that we have to recite a mantra before opening the Gita?
Well, like it said in the slide, right? The book of the Bhagavad Gita is non-different from the Lord. So when you pray to the Lord, generally as well, when you pray to a Murti of the Lord, you have to pray, like before you offer anything, you obviously recite mantras, right? And that is just to make the Lord aware that, now I'm coming to you. I'm under the consciousness of you, and I'm going to study about you. Therefore, give me like the guidance that I will if anything, what is the Lord going to do if you offer prayers? He's just going to give you guidance. He's going to give you the strength. He's going to give you the how do you say, the sort of concentration to actually understand, right? He's just going to make it a bit easier for you to understand the philosophy. And the thing with the prayers is that it makes everyone aware that you're now going to study something that is non-different from Krishna, which is the topmost personality, the supreme personality of Godhead. So it's to make that aware, basically. Awareness. I don't know. Prabhuji,
Brilliant. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah. And Jayanti just said, also, come here, to also get the blessings of the Lord. But you're right, it's the consciousness, is to change our material consciousness into spiritual. And we do a mantra and suddenly, hey, I'm speaking what Krishna spoke, consciousness changes. But also the blessings of the Lord are fundamentally important. And the devotees of the Lord. Yeah, devotees. Very good question. Very good answer. Pari is excellent. Shavi.
I just wanted to ask, why did the Lord decide to create the world, and why did he just decide to come down to earth as Dashavatar?
Wow. Oh, very nice to meet you, Shavi. So the answer to your first question is, why did he create this world? So that was your first question. He created this world because when we were souls that were connected to him, we wanted to be different from him. We wanted to be independent of him, and we wanted to be our own controller and enjoyer. And for that reason, he created the world where we could, he was like, you know what, you guys can go try and be independent of me. And this is why we are in this world, trying to survive. But again, we are so lucky in this group of people to be learning that our original source is to be with him and not to be independent of him. And the other question was about the Dashavatars. Was it?
Yeah, it was like, why did he come to the earth to like represent the Dashavatar a few times?
Okay, so he came as the Dasavatars because there are times where bad people sort of take over a bit too much, and so he comes as different personalities, well, non-different to him, but he comes as reincarnations of himself, so that he can reestablish the correct dharma that we should be following.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Prabhuji, anything else to add?
Excellent questions, Shavi. And if you like Shavi, you can just show yourself to Pari, introduce yourself. Shavi is another really phenomenal personality. She knows the 12th chapter by heart. She knows the 15th chapter by heart. She knows more bhajans than I know English.
Okay, Prabhuji, I think it was in the wrong person to present here. I think Shavi should be.
I think you'll be teaching her to present because I liked your presentation skills. Your answers were good as well. So
Thank
it
you,
shows
Prabhuji.
you got a good basic understanding of Krishna consciousness. So I really am very happy.
Hi, Shavi, you're beautiful. Oh, bless.
And there's
So
their brother.
Hi.
Katan. Is that Katan? And then we have Katit. They're twins.
Oh, is it?
So this is a dynamic force coming forward in the future.
Oh,
Future
very
is
nice.
bright.
It was a beautiful question, Shavi. Thank you.
Yeah. I also wanted to introduce you to Lokeshwar. I don't know if Lokeshwar is there. He's in Canada, and he's another amazing preacher. Can you show yourself, Lokeshwar? There he is. He knows tons of mantras, and also he can present chapters of the Bhagavad Gita.
Prabhuji, he sings at the speed of light. I've heard him sing before.
He's fast. He's fast. He shows me up when we're doing mantras in the next session we're going to do after this. Very smart lad. Thank you so much, Lokeshwar.
Thank you, Lokeshwar.
Okay. Anybody else, any questions?
Any other questions, anyone?
Okay, I hope everybody enjoyed today. I think normally what happens when we continue with the course, we find people drop off. So I remember the Sanatana Dharma course, I think first we had about 40 or 50 people, and then it came down to about 20 or 15 even. I'm hoping this will increase rather than decrease, because there's so much to learn, there's so much to encourage our youngsters as well. So I hope everybody continues to join and participates and also gives encouragement to Pari and Ishwari and Kishwari. We've got a long way to go, but it's going to be a wonderful journey. We can all journey together. This is one of the most amazing things. We can travel together. We're not alone. And of course, Krishna is always with us. So I wanted to say that. And Pari, would you like to, any concluding words?
Well, as a conclusion, I think what you said is perfect. The fact that if people drop off, that's their loss. That's something I'd say. It could never hinder my confidence or my my encouragement to speak about the Gita, because it's something I'm so intrigued by, so passionate to learn about, and well, not passionate, I guess you could say, in a mood of goodness all the time to learn about, and teaching it as well. even though it's a new experience, it can't hinder my motivation. But of course, it would be amazing if you could ask other people to join, people that you know, or just stay on yourself. It's a really big blessing to learn about the Gita. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Next week is just the context for the Gita, so the Mahabharata. So anyone feel free to join, and thank you so much.
And we'll have a quiz from Ishwari and Kishori. So,
yeah, generally there's about 15 questions in the quiz. It's not too long. So
yeah. Thank you, everybody. Actually, if possible, whoever is able to, can you switch your cameras on? I'd love to take a group picture, a selfie. Madhu. She's eating crisps. It's the same packet. Oh, great. Is that Kishore? Very good, Kishore. Anybody else? Oh, Harish, fantastic. Anybody else would like to show your face? Your beautiful faces? Anybody else? There's a Zulu boy. Oh, yeah.
Prabhuji, that's Yogita, my wife, and we both are joining.
Oh, yeah, Hare Krishna, Yogita. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Fantastic. So, oh, good. So, who's this? Varad. Thank you for joining, young lad. How old are you?
Hi, I am 19.
Oh, great, great. Brilliant. Where are you? In the UK?
Yeah, I'm in the UK. I'm Kishore's son. I'm just
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness. Very good. Did you enjoy the session?
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice to listen to it. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So let's everybody smile. I'll take a picture. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, okay. Let's take one for Neelam. Okay.
Namaste, Prabhuji.
Namaste. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Bye.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mother.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Finish that packet, huh?